Slate relies on advertising to support our journalism. If you value our work by joining Slate Plus, you support our work and get exclusive content. And you'll never see. Westlife didn't even consider Brian McFadden for reunion, but admit him quitting was biggest low. Westlife didn't even consider asking Brian McFadden to join them on their reunion tour, but they admit him quitting the band was their biggest low. Jerry Horner rejoined the Spice Girls on their recent reunion tour, and Take That sent fans wild last year when they joined forces with former member Robbie Williams for a special performance on The X Factor. But Westlife didn't ask Brian to join them on their Sell Out 20 tour. The Irish boy band have been riding high, with their gigs across the UK and beyond selling out, and with a new album due to drop soon. Manager Lewis Walsh said Brian, who quit the band in 2004, was never in the picture. Speaking exclusively to Mirror Online backstage at Dublin's Croke Park, where Westlife played 2 sold-out shows to crowds of 85,000 people, he said never.